listening to Power Producers Shop Talk, where we are refining and redefining the sales game by equipping you with the tools you need to differentiate yourself in the marketplace.
Well, it's like when we audit the mod with Logic and give them the action items that they're going to use to lower their total cost of risk.
Tactical skills that will help you provide deliverable value to your clients and prospects.
Technology is not an expense, it's an investment. Look at what Think HR has done for our clients and even our team. It's an amazing product, and I'm so thankful we have that.
And action items that you can provide to take your prospects and clients to the next level.
Things are changing for us in 2021. Not all big business anymore. Now that we have CoverWallet on our team, it's amazing that we're going to be able to write small business profitably.
This is Power Producer Shop Talk. Production redefined. Are you ready to feel the power?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Power Producers Podcast. This is installment 4 of 4 of the Wood sessions on Shop Talk. We're going to wrap up with Clayton today. If you're not excited about this guy, I don't know that we can bring you back, even if we happen to have a couple of paddles and an outlet to plug them into to charge your heart. You should be fired up about the opportunities you have in the employee benefits space as property casualty agents, and also have the ability to earn a little coin for something you're not even talking about right now. So Clayton has actually authored a book called The Chronic Cost, and we're going to spend this episode talking a little bit about that. And when we're done, I'm going to tell you how you can get a free copy from the Power Producers. So, Clayton.
I wish it was called Lay in the Wood.
It's probably
there's
not the not
be
the
a
actual
bestseller
book.
instantly.
It probably would. I mean, that's one of those jokes that growing up, everybody said something about it. So
Of course.
I would have probably called it Sporting Wood. All right, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not saying it.
The funniest thing is like finding the name of the title. I don't know about you when you wrote your books, David, like Googling like things, like you think of something, then you Google it, and you're like, oh shoot, I stole that idea from somebody else. And you just like keep trying to figure out a title. And
it's hard to do in general. I mean, even like thinking of subject lines in emails is hard to do sometimes. It's like creating a book title is way worse.
And it's like, I'm Googling like, okay, healthcare terms, Googling, sourcing them. And we came up with the chronic cost short read on purpose. We know that insurance, employee benefits can be boring for the average soul. So
True.
We wanted to be concise, to the point, and make it understandable for anybody. The book is meant for anybody in the buying process of employee benefits. We target in the book 50 to 500 in the book, employee wise. And the reason is when you're under 50 employees, you're still stuck in this thing called community rating. And community rating, it was through the Affordable Care Act, and it says all they can look at is your name, your date of birth, where you live, your gender, and if you smoke or do tobacco. And that's all they could look at. So they look at the average 40-year-old male that lives in Charlotte, and that's the rate that you get. You kind of age band it. But when you get above 50, you become experience rated.
He was on a roll.
Yeah.
He'll be back. There he is.
Can you hear? Wait. There we go. Can you hear?
There we go.
Yeah, you're
Got
good.
it.
Sorry, guys.
Experience rated.
Yeah, experience rating. So what happens is when you get above 50, you become experience rated, which means the carriers are now allowed to look at your claims to give you your rates. But there's this big problem that in that 50 to 500 space, where you're not really large enough, where you have the economies of scale to use vendors, they just become too expensive. So what we did and how we've built our whole firm is we've really researched the big conglomerate companies, your Boeings, your Intels, your Walmarts, that have been driving the healthcare industry for years and saving billions of dollars on their plans on these different strategies. And what we did is we backed it down and figured out how can we give this to an economical way to give this to a company with 50 employees. So the book goes through how that process is, what strategies can be put into place for that. we're saving, like typically we're saving hundreds of thousands of dollars on plans. So our average client that puts the strategies in place that we talk through in the book, they're saving $2,871 per employee per year. So 100 employees, we're typically saving $280,000. So the goal was here, we know, I mean, we're salespeople too. We have to cold call like crazy to get in front of people. We know that there's going to be that person that never picks the phone up. There's going to be that person that always sends you to the spam box. So we're just trying to find another avenue to share our ideas with people, because everybody needs to be touched in a different way or talked to in a different way. So.
Well, I mean, I think the other thing too is when you put something in print that you can hand them, it gives you more credibility, right? Mm-hmm. And so even though my books that I've written aren't geared toward my clients, I would be well served to write something similar to what my friend Steven Sedlak wrote with the work comp control effect. You know, he does really well with that, handing it out, sending it to prospects and everything, has a nice graphic in his email signature for people to buy it and all of that. And it is good marketing. You know, I think that sometimes we get so caught up in the digital age that we forget not everybody's as caught up in the digital age as what we are. There are people who would prefer to just get a book and read it, right? Or, you know, maybe it'll sit there and like, you know, I'm not really interested in this. Then they get their renewal and they're like, oh, that dude sent me that book. Let me, you know, it doesn't necessarily work right away, but many times it does. And we use the technique, you know, I use it in my agency because I'll refer back to a blog post that I've written, or we have an ebook on how to prepare for a workers' comp audit and all of that stuff. But I think there's something to be said about somebody receiving a book with a personalized note inside, signed by the person who wrote it, that's just going to stick, man. So, you know,
definitely,
100%.
And even the fact that your book maybe is not necessarily geared towards our prospects or our clients or whatever, the fact that it's out there at all and that you've written a couple books, like you said, gives you insane amount of credibility with them, even if you're just having discussion with them. It doesn't, you know, the fact that it's not geared directly towards them, I don't think is the point.
Right. No, I agree. But I do think that we would benefit, you know, even if I just did a book on return to work, right? I think that would make sense for us to have that and just hand it out. And then all of a sudden we just go through the prospecting, you know, portion of what we do and identify everybody who's mods over one, and then just email that book out every month. What would it cost me? $2 a book on Amazon for a thin book on return to work, then have some calls to action in it to download templates and take them to a landing page so that now I can get them into
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be long. I mean, this book is like 10,000 words. I mean, it's like 40 pages, 50, it's 56 pages.
Are there any pictures?
No pictures. It's just straight words. I mean, I didn't color in it, but it is to the point. Nobody wants to read a very long book, especially in something like this. So it's like crazy to the point. And like what we did on the soft launch is we just sent it to all of our prospects that we're currently working on or met with in the past. And I'm hearing back from people I haven't heard back in forever that I'm trying to get back in touch with. Read your book. Awesome. Like great ideas. Let's get back in touch. And literally in the week that we launched this book, or I think long-term, what it's going to be is just a good touch point to say, yes, we're sending you the book, but now we've captured their data and we're going to drip on them about things in the book. So like, I'm going to be able to create 50 blog posts with this. I'm going to be able to create 25 videos with it. So now throughout the whole year, we're just going to have these drip points on continuous prospects and clients and content. Like that was the goal for the whole book. Get the clout of it. Because I mean, in the soft launch, we were Amazon bestseller. I mean, yes, what does that mean? At the end of the day, it
means you're an Amazon bestseller, Clayton. That's all it needs to mean.
Right. I mean, well, what it means to me is when I can walk into a prospect and they look at you and say, you're an independent agency. I have an ABC brokerage house. And I go, but I have a bestseller and they don't. And you're not going to say it like that, but you have that clout walking in because they're going to have your book standing in before you go in. And they're not going to, you don't have to say it. They're just going to know it. This guy is an expert because he's able to write a book on it.
And here's the key. This is how I would do this. And I'm interested as to how you handled this part. But for anybody who's thinking about doing this, and I know that again, I keep talking about Sedlak, but he's been in a couple of the boot camps that we've run now and some other things. And as a result, people are thinking, hey, this is not a bad idea. I'll go write a book, blah, 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 blah. So I think where the real key is if you do a good about the author section and let that speak to your credentials as well. Right. So my clients, they have no idea all the stuff that I have. They have absolutely no clue because I don't talk about it. I don't go in and tell them anything. They don't know about Killing Commercial. They probably don't know unless they're connected to me on social, which many of them are, but they don't know about my books. They don't know about the podcast, none of that stuff. But if I send that to a prospect and I have an about the author thing that talks about the fact that I own a company that invests in insurtech seed stage startups. I'm an author, published 3 times now. I'm a keynote speaker at various industry functions across the country. Like, you list these things out and you don't do it in a bragging way. You just do it in a factual way that talks about why you have credibility. And I think that's huge, man, because you don't have to go in and say, yeah, but does your agent have a best-selling book? No, if they've read your book, they're going to see all the other stuff you've accomplished as well. And you're not the one that's having to tell them about it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's a great point. And look at any business book you buy nowadays, all of them. Like, I love reading, like, our big thing right now is to learn about how tech sales organizations are working. And because I think there's a big connect with what we do and the size of clients and the recurring revenue, but every single one of the books, the goal is for you to sign up for their monthly mastermind, their consulting fee, their consulting project. So obviously it's working for them. So again, it's just one of those things, like creating the wheel again. I mean,
don't recreate the wheel.
Yeah. So the whole thought there is just let's do it for ourselves, and we can keep pushing sales that way too. But again, it's just to be able to educate and communicate more.
That's textbook ClickFunnels methodology, right? So you go in and you build your social ads with a low dollar offer for whatever. Maybe it's, hey, just pay shipping on my book and I'll send it to you for free. And so people click on it. They have to fill a little information out to get the book. Then as soon as they do that, then they go to a thank you page that says, hey, you may be interested in this. And then it's an incrementally larger offer. So maybe it's like a pass to a 4-hour boot camp that you did on all of these things that we've talked about, right? And so they can buy that for $99. That agent can go, or whoever can go buy that boot camp. And then they go to a thank you page from that says, hey, but if you really want the good stuff, I mean, you're just walking people through step by step. But, it's really interesting to see how many people upgrade everything, man. I know I'm guilty of it. Like, I'll get to my shopping cart on a website and they'll say, but you can add this for 50% off. Well, I don't really need an automatic pierogi maker, but for 50% off, I'll go ahead and take it. Right?
Dude, don't lie. You went on there for the pierogi maker.
Yeah, right.
I don't need an automatic one. I can make them by hand, my man.
Dude, I'll tell you what, making pierogies, not super easy.
Not easy, not quick. It's an all-day process. My mother used to actually cry when she would make pierogies all day. And then when the 3 kids were teenagers, we would come to the dinner table. They'd be gone in 5 minutes. She's like, She would just be so upset that she had stood on her feet working for hours and they were just scarfed down, no leftovers.
Thanks to the pierogies, Mom.
Yeah, nothing. That's it. But yeah, it's so funny. But I do agree with that, man. And I think that, for the people out there that are looking at doing something like this, you have to have a good integration between the traditional with the print book, but the digital as well, because you want to be able to gather as much as you can and get it into your CRM so that you can use it for other purposes later in terms of marketing opportunities. And, I'm not necessarily saying that as much about agents, but for clients, 100%, man, because then a natural progression would be send an invitation to a live 1-hour webinar to everybody who bought your book. Now they've already got some basis of understanding, and you can have a much deeper dive into the content on that webinar. And, there's, have some level of interest because you sent a book to them, right? Whether they read it or not, there was an interaction that led you to do that. So I just think there's all kinds of good reasons to do it. So here's the deal, man. Kyle, how many should we give away?
I would say is 2 dozen fair?
No, 2 dozen's fair. That's exactly the number I was thinking anyhow. So that's cool. So listen up, people. Let me just go ahead and talk to you for a second about how horribly you perform when I give away free books. Okay. I literally had to go on social today or this week rather, and take a picture of all of the leftover books. Great books from Alan Stein, Sarah Muniz, Jotham Stein, Brian Will, all of these books that we've advertised. And here's what I found out. People don't ask for them because they figure they're already gone. So I'm going to tell you, don't do that. We got 2 dozen copies of The Chronic Cost that we're going to give away for free to our listeners. I just need you. Listen to me. Here's the other place where you guys really screw the pooch. Scares the crap out of me that you write insurance and you can't follow basic directions on emailing, but we're going to go with it anyhow. Email david@killingcommercial.com. In the subject line, Chronic Cost. That's it. All you got to do is email me, put it in the subject line, but here's the kicker. And you know I'm telling you because I've had it happen. Please give me your freaking address. I have to know where to send the book, people. I had like 4 blank emails from people in the recent past where they don't even give me their address to ship it. I'm glad you want the book, but unfortunately, I can't guess where you live, friend. So please give me some level of understanding of how to get this thing to you. And we will get them out. And I can tell you, if you read the book and you get a good understanding and you're comfortable, we're fixing to change the game for at least 2 dozen people. So, Clayton, I don't know what else we can do to talk about it. I think that we've done a pretty good job of giving everybody a great overview of who you are, what you do, how you operate, and we're even giving people an opportunity to get the written word from the man himself. Sounds like people need to go out and start having their ear to the ground for benefits in Q4 of 2022.
For sure.
I want to thank you guys for having me on the last couple of weeks. It's been great to talk to you guys. I know we had the podcast, maybe back in February or March or so this past year, but we're here to help. We're here to be a good partner for you guys and vice versa. So we'd love to be able to pass to you guys some clients and prospects your ways too.
Absolutely,
cool.
Man. We appreciate you making time for us. Everybody else, we will catch you next time. See ya.
You've been listening to Power Producers Shop Talk. You can follow us at the Power Producers Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to take your game to the next level, check out our commercial insurance training course at killingcommercial.com or visit Amazon to pick up a copy of our international best-selling book, The Extra 2 Minutes.